Hey there, church family. Pastor Jeff here. Well, I'm in an auditorium. I'm right back here by the soundboard, and I'm just coming to you with a video version of the weekly announcements. A lot of this is detailed in our email, and that's kind of like links and details. I want to provide a little bit of story to this. So this will go out on the podcast, YouTube, and all the places you can find it. If you're like, hey, I don't get those, and I'd love to see those, just send me an email, jeff@connectionoc.com. As we become the river, and that's our intention this spring to become the river, one church family, as we've been working through this. Our next step is to launch the River Kids. The kids ministry is so vital. We have more than 50 kids on every Sunday. It's such a beautiful plan. We have a great kids director in Abby, and she sent out an email to all the parents. I think it was on Wednesday, noting some specific things going on with your kids, all the kids in placement. And here's what's going on in those different classes from birth all the way up through age 12. And then we have our youth group student ministry for teenagers. But on Sunday morning, we have birth to age 12. And this is what's going on. Here's just a little bit of an update. Here's the age breakdown. Here's the intention and the kind of the plan for each of those classes. And I want to encourage you to read that. It's real brief. It answers probably a lot of your questions, and certainly you can reply to Abby with some of your questions as well. We have a great team. Not only a great staff team, but the volunteers, everyone who's together serving and not just kind of volunteering, like whole heart engagement is incredible. And so thank your kids leaders as they teach, as they help, as they serve in so many different ways. And they're obviously part of this whole update. And so that is beautiful. That is happening officially on February 22nd. On February 22nd, River Kids launch from explorers at the youngest to voyagers at the oldest, and the tween age and all in between. And so I want to encourage you about that. One reason to include it in an email is to be able to get into more detail, not just the summary big picture, but the detail and maybe answer your questions. Whereas on a Sunday morning, that's really not what we're going to do from the front, is tell you all the different things, but kind of give the broad brushes of that. So River Kids is happening in a month about or so. After that or so, we hope to officially make the move to the river, but no specific timeline for that. We're working through a lot. You can pray for your leaders, but we want to include a whole bunch of people in that as well. Speaking of intention, as we do everything intentioned, you may have experienced some beautiful community in this church family. That is what we're here for, right? We want to see God's continual transformation in our lives, not just this moment or that moment, but constantly. And we've been praying for that in revival, and it really comes through leaning in. So almost all of us are leaning in community in some way. Maybe you come on Wednesday nights to pray, or maybe you're serving on Sunday mornings in a specific way and you're leaning into those relationships. Maybe it's Monday night women's Bible study, or Tuesday morning or Thursday morning men's huddle. There's lots of other things like Celebrate Recovery on Sunday afternoons. And all of these aspects of intentional community is how the image of God is renewed in each of us and how we stay connected. And I want to encourage you to lean into those. Maybe some things are changed, or maybe you're waiting for like, hey, I thought there would be a Monday men's Bible study. We're going to resume that hopefully real soon here in this winter. But the intention of that we have is to join and partner with the Spirit in seeing all of us come together in faithfulness and love. In fact, that's what I'll be preaching on this Sunday, where we, through affliction before the judgment day of God, we grow, right? We flourish in our faith in Christ, and we increase in our love for one another. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. I want to invite you to read it in advance. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. We are talking about affliction. We're talking about the judgment day. We're talking about all those eternal things, but also what God does in us whilst we're not just waiting, but we're willingly participants together in this. And Paul says he boasts in those Thessalonian believers. And I believe that the Lord boasts in his people as we really resemble him. And so I want to encourage you to that. If you're like, I love this church, I love being a part of it. Maybe it's the teaching, maybe it's the music, maybe it's the fact that there are all these different generations. but you don't feel like as connected as you wanted to be, will you reply to this? Will you find me on Sunday? Will you find one of the leaders that you see up front and say, hey, I want to move in to a deeper connection with this church, and I really need my people. I think most of us have maybe found our people, but if that is you, you're longing for more, we'd love to connect you more. Now, we're working through some ways to make that more intentional, but right now it is relational. It is very relational. And so it just takes that risk of like, hey, I'd love to talk more, and also lean into the relationships we already have. Maybe you've been coming on Sunday night to the Life in the Spirit course. These are workshops really meant to not only be taught, but also practice what we are learning. 6 p.m. on Sunday nights. We did 3 of those, January 18th, 25th, and February 1st to start. There's 7 total. We're pausing from February 1st. We're pausing until March 1st. So the rest of February, there will not be those on Sunday evening, but March 1st, we'll resume that. And so we're moving more into the spiritual gifts when we get to that. And there is still time to catch up. So if you're like, hey, I've missed a couple or one and I need to catch up, let me know, and I'll get that to you, the teaching to you. Our intention with all of this is to really equip us, all of us, to not only walk in the Spirit and hear God's voice, but to mature. We want to mature so that we're not tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine, but we are growing deep in Christ and we're doing it together. So it's more than just receiving the teaching. It is living it out in our lives. So this is the weekly email. I call it the current, let's say, as we become the river. Maybe you read the email. Maybe you're watching this on here or listening on the podcast. It's so good to journey and join with you in this partnership with God. We will see you this Sunday at 10 a.m.